All right, guys, today's video is for all of you out there, and my hand is raised. In fact, both hands are raised. If you've got buku, that is Louisiana for tons and tons of raw sports cards you don't want, and you just want to try to cash these things out. And we're talking about cards from, 10 to 100, 200, 400, 1,000 bucks, whatever. But I'm talking mostly about the low-end stuff. You don't want to get on eBay. You don't want to deal with the listing. You don't want to deal with the eBay authenticity. You don't want to type all that stuff out. You don't want to have to take quality pictures. You don't want to have to pack it once it does sell. You don't want to give eBay your 15% or whatever the heck their sharing ratio is. You just want somebody else to do all that. You wish you could just take all these raw cards and just turn it into a little bit of money so you could go buy something that you really did want to keep in your collection. I've got an option for you. It's called the PWCC+Fanatics weekly auctions, and it even has a place for raw cards. A lot of people think graded cards only. That's not the case. Today's video is going to show you how you can use Fanatics/PWCC weekly auctions to turn your unwanted pile of raw cards into cash to buy the cards you really love. Hopefully you enjoy the video and this is helpful for you guys. PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code Cajun, all caps, C-A-J-U-N, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. All right, so here we are. We're on the main page for PWCC+Fanatics. It's called www.pwccmarketplace.com. It's real simple. This is the main page. Now, here's the one thing I do request is that if you're going to ship raw cards to PWCC and you're watching this video and you want to know how you can turn these raw cards into cash real easy with not even having to lift a finger other than to follow the directions and the instructions that I'm about to give you step by step in this video, please consider using the promo code Cajun, all caps, C-A-J-U-N. It is the only way that I get paid for providing this content, this channel, and the consistent 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 videos a week that you guys have come to expect from me and enjoy. Hopefully I'm providing you guys with a little bit of entertainment and education, and in recompense I would ask only that you use the promotional code Cajun, C-A-J-U-N, all capital letters, if you're gonna go ahead and follow through with this and submit these raw cards, or graded cards for that matter, but today's about raw cards. So here's where we are. Again, it's behind my fat face. I'm sorry, I'm tech illiterate. I can't move my head from the top right of your screen, but right behind my head is this button. It says submit items. You're submitting items. Whether you're submitting them to stay in your vault or whether you're submitting them to sell, either way you're submitting items. So I'm going to click this fat yellow button and then boom, look familiar? This is exactly the same page where you would go to if you were going to send your graded cards to just sit in the vault. But we're going to get some raw cards graded today. And one of the benefits of going through PWCC Fanatics weekly auctions is that they'll get authenticated and certified by Mike Baker and Associates, MBA stickers. You may have heard of those if you've been in the hobby for a bit. You may know what I'm talking about. You're going to get an authentication of your raw card with some idea of the quality or condition of that particular card, and a heat map will be assigned to those cards. So if you're sitting on some cards that you pack pulled and you know they're in great condition and they are probably going to grade 9 or 10 if they're ultra modern chromium type deal, you're going to get this authentication from Mike Baker. There's going to be a heat map attached if there's any glaring defects, but the good news is if they're pack pulled and they're fresh and then whatnot, it's probably going to look real clean and be very appealing to those people searching through these PWCC weekly auctions to buy raw cards. So here we are, main page, step 1. Where are you shipping the item from? Well, we're going to say that I have a stack. In fact, I do have a stack. Let's just say I've got 100 Fleer cards over here. They're all 1986 Fleer. They're all raw, but they're in great condition. So I'm going to click select here from me. I am packing these items and sending in these 100 1986 Fleer cards myself. So I have selected it. And then it says, what assets are you submitting? Only one type per submission, okay? So you can't mix graded cards with raw cards. You can send them in the same box when you send it to PWCC or Fanatics, but you can't mix them in the same submission. So you can't include them in this same submission request that we're working through online. But you can't put them in the same box. They can ship together, but you're going to have two submission numbers for two different types of assets. Well, today, we're not choosing the authenticated trading cards in small slabbed assets. We're actually choosing non-authenticated, meaning raw trading cards, just like they were pulled from the pack. So we're going to click that select button. It's going to say PWCC requires all trading cards archived and sold to be authenticated. In other words, this is what I was getting at earlier. You're going to get that Mike Baker stamp of approval and condition disclosure. You're not going to be able to sell a card without it getting looked at. So you can't just send in raw cards and they go straight up into auction. If you want to do it that way, you got to do all the work yourself and sell it on eBay or ship it off to an eBay consignor. That's the other option. We have several partnerships to assist in this process. Estimated 10-day authentication turnaround for all authentication partners. Now, here's the deal. Under sell now, these are cards we're trying to sell. We don't want to keep these things in our vault. We just want to get rid of these stupid raw cards, and I want to get some cash back. I want to buy some big Jordans, right? I want to get rid of these 1986 Fleer that I didn't feel like sending to PSA, a bunch of raw stuff. I just want to get that money, get it in my PWCC account, and go buy some Jordans. So your options under sell now. We are selling now. You can get them graded. Okay, so you can pay a $12 authentication fee and get them graded with CGC. You can get pay a $25 authentication fee and get them graded by BGS or BVG, depending on the age of the card. And the turnaround times on both of those are 30 to 45 days. No upcharges. 30 to 45 days. Those are recommended. They've got a little disclosure in here. It's recommended only for assets valued greater than $50. This is if we wanted to turn these raw cards into graded cards, then sell them on the PWCC Fanatics weekly auction. Okay, but that's not what we're doing. We're not doing. And by the way, the SGC disclosure here is super low. SGC is now $14 per sports card, 30 to 45 day turnaround. Again, to get the cards graded, they recommend you not send anything that's worth less than $50 because then you're pretty much pissing your money away because if it sells for, you pay $25 to Beckett and it sells for $23, you're really kind of pissing your money away. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So what we're going to talk about today, though, is we're going to send in some raw cards. So I'm going to click this first one. It says weekly auction with MBA authentication. So the aforementioned authentication process is Mike Baker and Associates taking a look at your card and providing a condition report and identification, like correctly labeling what your card is, what parallel it is, what year, what product, etc., and then providing a condition report, which comes, with a heat map. It basically gives the would-be buyer or prospective buyer an idea of any and all defects that Mike Baker has discovered on your card. There's a $3 fee for that. So even if you got like a $12 card, you pay $3 for the fee, you're still going to get something out of your card, right? Now, the idea here is obviously the bigger the card, the better your return's going to be and the more sense it's going to make. But if you've got $10, $20, $30 cards and they're raw, it's going to make sense to pay $3 to get this done because it's probably going to enhance the value of the card by $3 in the event that the card is squeaky clean, and Mike Baker denotes that on his condition report. There are no upcharges. There's a 5 to 10 day turnaround time. So from the time you send your card in and it arrives at PWCC, it's going to be a 5 to 10 day turnaround time to get that Mike Baker sticker on it. Then it's going to show up in your dashboard. Then you can move it straight from your dashboard into the weekly auction of your choice. Now, we're going to have another video that you guys will want to watch where you can choose which weekly to put it in. If you don't want it to be in the weekly that ends, in the Thanksgiving week where people are traveling or their attention's diverted, or maybe the Christmas week where everybody's blown their wad and spent all their money on all their kids' toys, then you can choose which weekly to put your particular Mike Baker authenticated, conditioned raw card in, right? You don't have to put it in the very next weekly auction. You can pick and choose. So we're going to click that button right there. And this down here where it says archive only, we've talked about that. That's if you want to just put it in your vault and just leave it there. These, today we're talking about, I want them out. I want these things sold. So we're selling these Mike Baker cards. All right, so then we're going to click next. Please consent to the following regarding your weekly Sunday auction plus grading submission. All trading cards in this submission have an estimated market value that is at least 2 times the stated authentication fee. What is an authentication fee? Well, we just talked about it. With Mike Baker, to certify your raw cards, we're not grading these with BGS or SGC or CGC. We just want Mike Baker to put the little stamp of approval, put a label on it, and sell it in the weekly. If that's the case, it's a $3 fee. So PWCC saying these cards need to be worth at least $6. Assets below this threshold may require authentication fee to be paid prior to the authentication services being applied. So the beauty of this is you don't have to prepay your authentication fee. It can come out of your net sale proceeds, when they do sell on PWCC Weekly. So for those of you out there who are cash poor and illiquid, as they say in the finance world, I'm a finance major, so if you are not liquid and you want to turn this into cash without having to come out of pocket to prepay the authentication fee, this is your option. This is the place for you. The reason they're saying that, and I visited in Oregon a couple weeks ago with the folks at PWCC, they were getting orders with a bunch of 50-cent cards that people were paying $3 for, and then they were listing them, and then they were selling for $1.50. And so people were actually losing money, and it was bogging down PWCC Fanatics marketplace, right? And so that's not what they want. They want to make sure that you don't get robbed. You don't want to sell cards for less than the authentication fee that you paid. And so their advice here for you is just make sure the cards are worth a damn before you send them in. Don't literally take a stack of 10,000 cards and send them in if a bunch of the cards are worth 10, 15 cents. That's not going to be a good, and they will ship those cards back to you, and you will pay the shipping. And that makes sense. So I understand the per grading fee will be removed from the seller's net auction proceeds. Like I said, you don't have to prepay it. It can be removed. So that's a humongous perk. That does not exist anywhere else. All trading cards are in Card Saver 1, Card Saver 2, or top loader plastic holders. Nothing loose in binders, no screw downs, and this is just a matter of manpower. You don't want the folks at PWCC Fanatics, when they receive your order, to have 1,000 cards in screw downs. Trust me, I just went through that. That's a pain in the ass. They want to be in Card Saver 1s, Card Saver 2s, depending on the size, or top loaders and penny sleeves. Items not arriving in proper holders may be returned. The items included are believed to be authentic and not known to be altered. In other words, you're just telling them you're not abusing PWCC. You're basically not trying to dump off, inauthentic, fake, counterfeit cards on them. Under strict confidentiality, PWCC may provide my account name to partners and affiliates. This is used for identification of assets only and will never be used for promotional purposes. Basically, they're grouping them and handing them over to Mike Baker and Associates under the name, for instance, Brian Dennison, Cajun Cardboard, whatever, okay? So, boom, you got to agree to that, okay? Now, it's just like when we submitted our graded cards to sit in my vault. They are going to want to know, what are you submitting and how many? Let's just say we're submitting 1,000 raw cards. I'm going to send 1,000. What's the estimated value? Well, the estimated value is $3,000, okay? That's what we're going to say. We're going to say it's 1,000 cards. The average is about $3 each. That's dumb. Let's just say the average is $30 each. Okay, there you go. Then you want to put some kind of description. I don't think they're looking for an itemization of 100 cards here, okay? You just want to group it and identify it so that you know what this particular submission referred to. This is really for your own intents and purposes. Obviously, they're going to inventory it when they receive it up in Tigard, Oregon. When that box is opened up by that first point of contact with PWCC Fanatics, they're going to open the box up. They're going to know exactly what's in there. This is just a reminder to you. So when you send the submission in, you're like, about 6, 7, 8 days later, if you got a lot of shit going on, you may not remember what you sent in. Enter a promotional code. What's that? Yes, this is the Black Magic Voodoo part. You're going to type in Cajun. Watch me do it. C-A-J-U-N. Now you're supporting the Cajun Cardboard channel. Now a teeny tiny piece, a little fractional piece of PWCC's share that they keep when they sell your raw sports cards on their weekly auction, a portion of the PWCC fee comes to me because my big mouth and this video steered you to sell your raw cards for cash on PWCC+Fanatics. Then you're going to click I confirm that I have read and agreed to the terms of submission. If you want to reread the terms of submission, click the button right there. Boom, next. Here we go. Same thing we saw before. Prep it. Here's how you pack it. Don't put it in team bags. Don't group them. Make sure they're in card savers, top loaders. You're going to print your packing slip right here. Boom, the packing slip prints out. You're going to keep one here. You're going to put one in the box so that they know who it is when they send it. And then when you pack it, you're going to use this address when you fill it out on FedEx.com or when you take it to the post office. You give them your vault name and your vault number. You don't see PWCC showing up anywhere on here or Fanatics because you don't want the mail carriers to know where it's going. It's the same reason when you submit to PSA for grading, it says see you receiving and not PSA grading. You don't want people to know what's in that box. And so then you're going to click next. And here we go, weekly auction, it's submitted. And they show this jackwad right here, you know, kind of playing the air guitar. An email with your packing slip and submission number has been sent. Please add the tracking number for this shipment so PWCC staff can monitor the shipment. If you do not currently have the tracking number, it can be added later. And you can go in later and mess with your submissions. And so I just want to show you this. This is where you're shipping your package. Here's where you can enter the tracking number if you've already printed it out and you went on FedEx.com or you took it to the post office and you have your shipping number, and then you can hit go to my submissions. Now watch this. I'm going to go to my submissions. I actually created this thing, okay? They're waiting for a tracking number. That's why it's in red. I've submitted 100 raw cards here. Look below this. This is something I wanted to show you guys. They keep a long storied history and a great detailed history of all the stuff that I've submitted, okay? So you can look at my stuff. Most of my stuff is for Vault archival because you guys know how I collect. I get cards and I ship them to the vault and they keep them forever. And so some of them I bought on PWCC, and that's why you'll see it was sent and received on the same day. Some of the stuff I got from Golden. One card I got on Alt and it was shipped directly to my vault. That's all these are. These are all the submissions. These are all the submissions that arrive at my PWCC vault. It's got all of the tracking numbers right here down the middle. Some of them were purchased from PWCC. When you purchase on the PWCC Weekly, your card goes immediately into your vault. As soon as you pay, it's instantaneous, then it shows in there, and you can right click, cut and paste, and share the picture of that card with anybody you want to in the world. But you can see, obviously, I've sent a lot of stuff to PWCC. I've got 10 pages of stuff like this. I've got 34 pages of stuff like this, okay? And that is one of the reasons why I can speak so confidently on this matter, is because I've done this over and over and over with not hundreds, not thousands, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, with $1 million worth of cards I've sent to the PWCC Vault, and I've done it and I've never had an issue, ever, not once, ever. And not just $1 million+ worth of cards, and I'm not just beating my chest here, I am just telling you I trust them implicitly because they have a historical track record of doing anything and everything exactly the way they tell me they're going to do it. That is why I can confidently speak to you about this on this video. I've been there, I've done that, and not just in a high dollar value of cards. I'm talking about tens of thousands of cards have gone in and out of my PWCC Vault. It is the hub of how I collect. It is not for everybody. Vaulting is not for everybody. I am not here telling you to vault. I am telling you, if you've ever considered vaulting, consider using PWCC. If you've ever considered, you know what, I don't feel like putting in all the work, taking all the pictures, typing out all the listings, shipping all the cards, creating cardboard sandwiches, cutting out little cardboard things to keep the cards safe and secure, buying all the bubble mailers, buying the team bags, wrapping up the slabs in the team bags, putting it in a cardboard sandwich, using painter's tape to go around it, shipping it out, then getting to a EB authentication that says, you know what, not authentic, not described correctly, send it back, or a buyer who says, blah, 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 I hate this, I hate that, or a buyer that doesn't pay. Let PWCC Fanatics do all the work. Stop doing all the work. If you're trying to, if time matters to you as much as money, let PWCC Fanatics do all the work. At the very least, let a consignment place on eBay do the work as well. So that's it, guys. That's it for today's video. I'm just trying to show you there is an avenue out there. If you're a busy person, if you've got 2 full-time jobs like me or 3 full-time jobs like me, you've got 7 kids, you're married, you got to get your kids to practice, you got to get your kids to games, you like doing social media and content creation, you like buying cards more than you like selling cards. Oh, you want more time to buy cards? Well, one way is to stop spending any time selling your cards. Put them in a box, do what I just did in 5 minutes, ship it off to PWCC Fanatics, let them do all the work, wait for the money to hit your account. But wait, you don't want to use the money in your PWCC account. You don't want to just buy from PWCC. You want the money in your pocket. You want to go buy a new vacuum cleaner, a new refrigerator. You want to go buy some flowers for your wife. That's fine. Guess what? All the money that's sitting in my PWCC account, all I got to do to get that money is just request a freaking wire. Or you can request a check, but a wire is easier. They'll wire it. I've got the money in 72 hours. It's in my bank account. Now I can go buy whatever the hell I want. Me, I leave it in my PWCC account because usually I'm buying cards in the PWCC Weekly and Premier. So that is sort of the life cycle of me in the hobby. I sell through PWCC, I recover the funds, the net funds. I use those funds to buy more cards on PWCC, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Basically, I'm turning money from unwanted raw cards and unwanted graded cards that maybe I didn't get the grade I wanted to, or maybe, you know what, I fell out of love with the card, or maybe it's just anybody but Jordan, and all I want now is Jordan. So I'm selling these cards on PWCC, or sometimes Instagram, sometimes in person, sometimes at a show, sometimes just through direct message, sometimes through word of mouth. Either way, the money hits my PWCC account, then I just go right back into the weeklies and I start searching for some great Michael Jordan cards. I search Michael Jordan PSA 10, Michael Jordan BGS 9.5, Michael Jordan PSA 8, every single PWCC weekly, and then I transact business accordingly. That's how I do things. Again, I've always said I will always be transparent to you. If I ever had an issue, for a while when Fanatics took over PWCC, shipping was an issue. If you bought a card in the PWCC Weekly and you wanted to have it shipped to yourself, or you just wanted to pull some cards out of your vault, it was a freaking problem. I'll be the first one to admit it. And I told my guys, I said, guys, y'all got to clean this up. I know you got a manpower issue. I know y'all let a lot of people go because you wanted to get lean for this, Fanatics acquisition. That's great. But you're going to have problems if you don't start shipping stuff quicker. Dude, let me tell you, in 2 weeks, that problem was fixed. And now when I request something out of my vault, I'm getting that thing right on time, best in class, quickest turnaround time in class, period. So hopefully you guys feel as confident about it as me. Give it a try. Run it up the flagpole. Send 20 raw cards. Send 50 raw cards. Don't send a bunch of crazy valuable stuff if you don't trust it. Wait till you see how they do. The PWCC Weekly Auction is not for all cards, okay? Not all cards belong in here. A base LeBron James 2020, optic insert probably is not going to do real well. That's why they give you the disclosure. Don't put $1 or $2 cards in here when you're going to pay a $3 authentication fee. But if it's a blue fast break parallel insert LeBron that's worth $23, it's probably going to do just fine. It's probably going to sell for about what it would sell for on eBay, and then it's no trouble and no skin off your back, and you didn't have to put in any of the work. Let them do the work to put cash in your pocket. That's it in a nutshell. As always, I'm going to keep doing these videos. I'm going to make it as easy as I can for you guys to use PWCC. Just remember, use that promo code Cajun, C-A-J-U-N. It's how I get paid. It's how I continue to support the channel. It's how I continue to hit record and scream at the screen that you guys have grown accustomed to seeing me do 7, 8, 9, 10 times a week. So keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby. If you have any questions about this at all, comment to this video and or directly message me on Instagram. I am always available. I get messages all day, every day, and I don't mind answering questions. If I get a question I do not know the answer to, I will put you in touch with whoever you need to speak with at PWCC, and I promise you I will get you the answer. I will never guess. That's one thing I learned when I got out of law school. If you don't know the answer, you do not guess. That is how you get in trouble. And so I will always be truthful with you guys. I'll always be transparent. If something's good, I'll call it like I see it. If something's bad, I'll call it like I see it. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.